Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be interviewing Jeremy and we're going to be talking about some raw food. I'm really excited to be here talking with Jeremy about his journey and how he got into raw veganism and his experience and also what he does for his workouts and fitness and how he's gained a lot of muscle as well. And before we get into it, we're just going to go through some breathing just to get into the present moment. So here goes. So breathe in, deep breath, close your eyes, hold, and breathe out. Relax. So do that again. Breathe in, hold, and let it go. Again, last one. Hold and let it go. Actually, we'll do 2 more breaths. Breathe in, hold, and let it go. Okay, this is the last one. Breathe in, hold, and let it go. And open your eyes now. Okay, I definitely feel way more relaxed.
Yeah, more grounded.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you for that.
No worries. That was impromptu, so we can decide if we want to include that or not, but I think it was okay.
Yeah,
So let's talk
nice.
about raw veganism. Like, I'm really curious to know, like, how long have you been raw vegan?
Okay, so how long I've been raw vegan? About 3 years now. So in 2016 is when it was the summer when I actually found plant-based, and it's funny because I don't know like who originally like how I found it. I try to think back and it's like I can't remember who it was where I originally found like just regular plant-based, not necessarily raw, and then eventually just after diving into plant-based and just getting rid of my acne through, first of all, I got rid of dairy, and that was the main like turning point of like, okay, wow, this is like really cool and no one ever taught me about this. Like what, like I'm always seeing people putting on like acne medicine. And then later on, I just after all the benefits, like that was awesome. And then 2017, the summer, I found a guy named Marcus Rothkranz, and he he set me off on everything. Like his videos, like a lot of people might see them as like corny or like weird, but like his older videos is what I'm referring to. And it's just so inspiring to me. And eventually I went raw vegan because he was just explaining how it makes more sense. Just if you think about it, in nature, raw food, like we find that's what it would be naturally, like right off the tree, right off the bushes, just you wouldn't cook your food. And like it makes sense because we're the only creatures that cook our food. And I tried it out, and it was actually funny because as I was getting into plant-based, I actually started getting bored and um like lazy of cooking my food. So I was like, I didn't want to cook as much anymore, so I was eating a lot of fruit already without even realizing like raw food is a thing and like that's a lifestyle, until I did find Marcus Rothkranz, and I was like, wow, like this is a thing, like, oh, cool. And then I found all these other people. Eventually I found um, Dan the Man, Life Regenerator. I found all sorts of people that were into raw foods, the healing aspects of, everything. And it's something to bring up is it's not always about the food, right? Like we focus on so much food, and um, It goes deeper. Like a lot of emotional things can be brought up through the lifestyle, and um, if you go at it too quick, I think if you go at raw food like wait like too quick, it can be, especially for certain people. I mean, it's not the case for everybody, but when you go at it too quick, it can cause unbalance and just not like having that harmony with the lifestyle. So yeah, 2017, the summer is like when I went raw around the summer, and it wasn't like completely like 100%. Like I still not, I don't call myself 100% raw vegan. I'm more like 90 something percent, because there are the things here and there that aren't necessarily raw that I eat. Like I'll eat some cashews. I'll eat, sometimes I'll use nutritional yeast, which, some people don't say like avoid that, but yeah, and there might be some other things that aren't necessarily raw, like say like these like coconut date rolls that I buy, and maybe I don't know, I never looked into are the coconut shavings on that thing like raw, and there's other things too maybe, but I always say stick to raw foods, because that completely awakens your whole perspective on life, because you start feeling you. And like, to me, in my experience, what happened was it awakened how like my natural gifts and my natural passion for life. And I realized that, yeah, for me, and it's just my perspective, is that mm, more raw food you can go, is it just brings you back to that state of like just feeling okay, and like feeling like, oh, so alive, because there's so many, especially when you first get into it, like you start feeling like, whoa, wow. But yeah, 2017 is around then.
Wow. So you've been raw for 3 years and you were vegan already before that?
Yeah, yeah. So 2016, the summer of. So yeah, so around, or yeah, I guess you can say 4 years ish now is when I've been like, yeah, I haven't eaten meat. But yeah, there was a point though in 2016 where I was still tempted, and by not by my taste buds, because I really didn't care, but for me it was a social aspect. And at the time I was dating somebody, and we went from Oregon, because I'm in Oregon right now, and we visited her family in Ohio. And at that time, I was like kind of like insecure about things, and just, I really felt like inside of me, I wanted to express this lifestyle and express this passion that was coming out. And I just didn't know, like, I didn't have that. I wasn't at the point where I was still like I guess I was just caring about my image, and like caring about too much of what people thought of me. So I just, the whole time there, I felt very um it just not comfortable. And just, I ended up, like, while I was there, I ended up eating meat that was offered to me. And I don't know, like, I could have just said no thank you maybe, but I ended up eating it and regretting it later on. um but but yeah, and that just shows, it's not a clear cut path always. It's always, there's going to be obstacles in the beginning, and of course long term maybe. But yeah, so
Wow, that's pretty cool. Like, so what was your main motivation for going vegan? Was that to clear your acne or raw vegan? Or was there like more to it?
my motivation for going raw was I that original inspiration. And to me, like, I've noticed in my life where if I find somebody that's like speaking toward like to me, and I find them like ringing the truth, I'm gonna want to know like what they're doing, and I'm gonna want to know like what is it. And I'm always there to, explore what they're doing. And when I found Marcus, going back to Marcus again, it's not that like I glorify him, because yeah, obviously, like, yeah, it might be weird, but like, it's just him is who brought that message to me. And I think for most people there is that one, either it's different. Like, I know, like, you, Amy, you told me that you went vegan, you just ended up going vegan, and like it felt better for you. But for some people, like a lot of people, they find that main person, and that was Marcus for me. And what kept me going on raw was just how I felt. It's just like how I felt spiritually, mentally. Um, yeah, like you're saying, like the acne part, my skin got even more clear. So obviously I was like, okay, this is awesome. Um, and yeah, it's just for me, I feel like in my body, like I just feel the best, like on raw. And I can eat cooked once in a while. I'm not like super strict. I'm not like a purist, like, oh, stay 100% away from cooked food. No, if like I end up going out to like friends, like with friends, maybe someday, and like we go to like a vegan restaurant or something, maybe I'll have some cooked stuff, whatever. But for me, it's all about getting back on that path that's going to lead you to you being able to lead your vision and being able to share that, because I feel like it's sometimes like when you become aware of that, it becomes your duty to offer that to the world and just be there. Not that we have to. It's not like you have to. And I know like that's something that's ingrained in us. Like this idea of having to do something or should do something, especially like in America, that's really ingrained in the younger generation. Like we have to do this, have to do that. It's more of just a natural calling, and it's a choice. You know, it's really a choice between you can go and feel into what is true to your heart, or you don't have to. Either or, it's okay. But I'm choosing this path where I'm following my heart, and wherever my heart guides me, I believe that that's the way to go.
I totally agree on that. Like following your heart is the way to go. Like I find like it yeah, like what you said is true. Like you can choose. We all have a choice to follow our intuition or to follow society or whatever we think other people think of us that we should do. We can keep doing that because I found uh, that I used to do that a lot before. Like I used to follow what I thought that other people thought about me, which is totally like a fiction, right? Like it's like other people, we think that other people think that about us, so we're going to create that identity. But like really, that all that leads to is suffering and like this, uh, I don't know, like you feel like you're not expressing yourself. And that's why like I agree with what you're saying is like following your heart and following your intuition is the best way to go, even if nobody understands it around you, because that's going to fulfill you in the long run and make you feel good, like internally. Like, because I find if I'm not following my intuition now, then I really don't feel good. Like, I feel really, really bad, honestly. So it's just like for me, I have to do this. And yeah, I don't know. I thought I would add that, but yeah, that's really cool and really inspiring. So, what's been your experience like with the ups and downs of raw veganism? Like you said, like it's not like it can be hard at the beginning, like, and everybody's different. Like, what was it like for you?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was easy for me. I never had any problems with like transitioning at all. So I know a lot of people, it's hard for them to get out of habits of like eating different junk food or eating because of emotions, like emotional problems. Um, I never had any of those problems really. For me, what happened was, and I think like I'm coming more to clarity like now, and I'm realizing that what happened was when I first went, you know, into this lifestyle and I learned so much and I just got these blasts of just like guidance to just do it. I feel like what happened was it was that what I just said, you know, I had this like lifestyle where I just jumped into it. It was freaking amazing, you know, and you know, it's from 2017 to 2018, and then when 2019 came, I started becoming like in my head. Like I started getting back out of my body because like I feel like the raw food, yeah, it can do different things depending on what's going on. But I feel like what happened to me was I got on the path, and then later, for some reason, I started getting back into my head and overthinking things. And that was last year. Last year, in 2019, I was just overcomplicating things, just like, I couldn't sleep at night for a lot of times, and like a lot of times because I was just thinking about, I don't know, just things about, oh, am I not doing this right in life? Am I not following my path? And all these things, just blah, blah, blah. And eventually this year, I've been learning to just really bring awareness, as much as I can, awareness to the emotions, and being able to bring awareness to the ego, the ego, and then shifting it. So breathing into the body and just feeling into, like, where is it coming from? Where am I feeling it in my chest, in my stomach? Or, and really just letting go and just melting away and doing the self practice where I am being vulnerable and just opening up and just grounding, doing the grounding practices, and just doing that, just doing the awareness, it just bringing awareness to your emotions. And it's so much easier than figuring out why, like, why am I what's going on. Instead of that, I just, kind of like what my friend Kurt, he's told me that we don't have to know the reason why these emotions are coming up. All we have to do is take out the garbage, and we don't have to look in the bag. Like, we don't have to look in the bag to know what's in it. We can take out the trash. We don't have to know. So it makes so much sense. And like, you just come to a peace, the more and more you bring awareness to emotions, and you're just just breathing out lightly and feeling that stillness and that lightness, that natural happiness, peace, bliss, all those things that we naturally are, they come so more naturally, to where we're not striving for it. And I think that's what happened. I ended up to where, yeah, naturally I was led to this path, and because I think it's a big part of my purpose. And it just, that human aspect of us, we get in the mind, and I started analyzing things a little too much, and then it became a habit, right? And yeah, it's just about bringing awareness and coming back to yourself, and just really grounding.
Yeah, I agree that bring awareness is like one of the main things we can do, and everyone can do it. And it's so easy to do once you make it a habit, really. It's just like, but it makes all the difference in your life when you have like a practice, whether it be meditation, breathing, yoga, um, or just mindfulness, like throughout your day, to really look at your emotions and, like you said, like not dig deep into it. Um, like sometimes I guess things come up and you have some understanding of maybe something you went through in the past, and that's good to have that understanding. But uh, like you said, it's not necessary. We don't need to dig into things and understand them fully. We just need to accept our emotions and let them go. That's how I see it, at least. Like, because it's stored in the body, and but once we release it in the body, which I think is easier than releasing it in the mind, because the mind uh, can get in the way of things. Like you said, like for me, the same. I used to be overthinking a lot, and it's something that I'm still working on now, to be honest. But I find that I'm working on it more, and I'm feeling more present than I ever have before, because I've been doing these like meditation, yoga, breathing every day. And yeah, but it makes all the difference for sure. Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like your main like practices that you do to like ground and get more into the present moment.
Yeah. So, like, kind of like I was saying, in the beginning of this year, around the beginning, I found a person named Kurt Schwitz, and he teaches a form of, yeah, kind of like self-healing in a way, where, yeah, you're bringing awareness to emotions in the present moment. So when anything comes up, anger, sadness, anything, that we think is bad, right? That we think is bad, which really isn't. It's just an experience. Um, it's just bringing awareness. It's literally bringing awareness to it and just literally just melting away. So just bringing your awareness, right? So if something comes up, you're breathing it in, closing the eyes, and just melting away and just feeling it wherever it's in the body, whether it be like in the stomach, and just feeling that lightness. Because when you can bring lightness and just that vulnerability, it's kind of like a stream of water, right? It's a stream of water, and then something comes up, like, oh, like this feeling of ungroundedness, or just like some emotion comes up. It's in the stream and it's in the way of the stream, but when we can bring awareness, it's kind of like in that lightness, it just allows it to naturally shift outwards. So it's not like we're letting go, like trying to let go. We're just literally allowing a lightness to come through. And it comes from, I don't know if you ever heard of Kriya Light, um, yeah, Kriya Yoga. I don't know if you ever heard of Kriya Yoga or not,
Yeah.
but it's similar to that. And it's sort of the idea of it. It it's hard for me to explain because I'm still learning it, right? And it's only been like less than a year that I've been going through it and learning. But yeah, before I would do that, I used to sit down and meditate, and you can do that with this self practice, but it's just a little different. Um, but I used to go out, and like I still do, right? But I used to do it way more often, where I'd go out to trees and I'd hug the trees and connect to the trees and do grounding and just focus on the breath. And yeah, but it really wasn't until this year that I figured that I don't have to do so much. Like I can do a, one main thing that's going to be like have so much more of an effect than any of these things I do. And of course I still do these things, and I still like teach, like, yeah, go out to nature, ground, like take your freaking shoes off, ground, like put your feet on the ground, connect to the grass, and just, yeah, this really as much as you can. I think that's important. And then of course at nighttime, having your routine, like body scanning, like having your awareness go down your head, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, everything, and just accepting anything that's coming up. And there's different things, right, that you can do. And I used to do journaling more, but really for me this year, doing what I just explained, it's been so much more, like it has shifted so much in my life, way more than anything I've ever done. And it's so simple, but it could be like I was talking about, this choice, right, where you can listen to your heart, or you don't have to. And it's like, you can listen to your ego, or you don't have to. So when you're feeling in, you're allowing yourself to just melt away. So it's just bringing awareness to it, right? And heart's truth, that's another thing that I've been learning, is just your heart. It's kind of like intuition, right? It's your intuition basically. But basically your heart's truth, like when you know a truth, when you know it's truth, like whatever you're listening to, thinking, or is something that you're about to do, um, you'll know if it's the truth or not, because it's just like this light feeling. But you have to get really light, and in order to get light and more sensitive to it, you you have to bring awareness to the ego. So
Yeah. That sounds awesome. Like, yeah, like there's so many things we can do to like ground and raise awareness, but I believe that it is better when you just have at least one main thing that you focus on that makes all the difference, rather than doing like so many hundreds of things. Because I find when you're doing lots of different things, that can become a distraction. And like for me, because if I do too many things, it's like I feel like I need to do those things to sort of be centered. Like I used to be like that a little bit, but when I just focus on one thing, like for me, really, uh, I do meditation every day, and that's one main thing. But just breathing and focusing on the breath and listening to my breath rather than listening to my mind. makes all the difference throughout the whole day, because I can do that anywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
breath is so important. It's crazy. Like, yeah, just bringing awareness to breath and just allowing yourself to, because I know like I haven't gotten deep into like a lot of like pranayama stuff that people do. And eventually I'll probably, I might do that. We'll see. But I know that breath is really important because when you're breathing shallow, that's a sign that you're probably not aware of your emotions. You're not aware of what's, so you're right, like breathing, yeah, really important.
yeah, definitely. Like it's something I want to explore more deeply as well. um, yeah. So I was gonna ask you, what kind of exercise do you do, and like how often do you work out, and what's the volume and intensity of that at the moment, and how's that changed in your journey from being raw vegan as well?
Yeah, so okay, since you mentioned the where and like how it's changed since going vegan, before I would go to the gym a lot. Like this is 2016 and a little before 2016, where yeah, I'd be going to the gym a lot, lifting weights, just like chugging down the whey, all that whey protein, being like thinking that I need that, and then um, yeah, just like I thought that I was probably getting results, and I might have been. You know, I think I was strong. I was still strong, right? Um, but like looking back, I feel like I was more like inflamed probably, and like more like I had a lot more inflammation, and just overall I was just more bloated probably. But yeah, so I was going to the gym back then, and then I was still into calisthenics like I am now, but I was doing calisthenics and the gym at the same time. And eventually I just, I said, well, you know, this was back when I was just getting rid of junk food before even plant-based. I started getting into just calisthenics, and then this was before plant-based. So I was getting into calisthenics just by itself, and I was seeing results, of course, as well, just because my goals changed. And I just wanted to do more like body weight stuff, like more pull-ups, more push-ups, just things like that. And I started doing that, and then I found videos of just people doing really cool advanced tricks and like planches and like Superman push-ups and all these cool things. So I got really inspired about that, and I started pursuing that, and then I became really inconsistent. So it was about that was probably when I was plant-based. Or going raw. I started becoming like pretty inconsistent with what I was doing, and I stopped like working out. And um, while I was eating a lot of fruit, going raw, I started losing weight. I started losing a bunch of weight because of like the detox stuff, and I was eating enough. I was like eating so much, but I was still losing weight. And it might have had to do with I just wasn't eating enough fats, this blah blah blah. But really, I think what I was doing was what I was supposed to do anyways. Just starting out the lifestyle with a nice fruit, juicy fruits, cleaning out, and um, yeah, cleaning out for sure. But yeah, so I lost a lot of weight, and it was mostly muscle weight that I lost. And eventually I started getting back into calisthenics, and I um, started to gain my weight back. And this was about a year later-ish. So like in between there, like from 2016 to 2017, maybe like around here was when I started working out again. And yeah, I started getting my muscle weight back. And I think a lot of it was because maybe muscle memory, because maybe my body was already used to doing what I did years ago, and my body was already ready to build back. But yeah, so calisthenics. And then back then I can't really remember what I was doing because I was still kind of inconsistent until this year when I started getting really more consistent with things. But it was always where I was like consistent for 2 months and then off, and then and then on and off, on and off. And in between then and now, in between that time, I was learning more about the mindfulness and bringing awareness to your body, and all these different things like Tai Chi. But I never ever combined all that until this year, where now what I'm doing is I'm doing a mix of like bringing awareness to your emotions, bringing awareness to just like how your body feels while you're working out. So in between sets, what I'll do is like I'll do like different shakeouts and then like different Tai Chi things that I've learned online, and just really allowing yourself to feel that flow. And it's kind of like what taught you, what I told you earlier, and what I was explaining earlier, how you can bring awareness to these emotions, and it's the same thing. So I'm combining that, bringing it into calisthenics and body weight stuff. So in between sets, you could do like, if you want, you can do like a 2-minute meditation and just bring awareness and slow down. So we're not just focused on holding the tension in your bones and in your joints. And because we can hold emotions inside of our body, like literally while we're working out, that anger, yeah, you think that anger might be coming out, but a little bit is probably still there. And who knows, it could cause disease later on. We don't know. But yeah, so what I do now is I have my base stuff right now is I do a split. So I do push, pull, legs. So I'll do like push, pull, legs, and then so like one day push, and then it comes in a cycle, right? And I try to mix it up to where 1 week I'll do just like drop sets. So I'll do, for push day, for example, I'll get up and do incline push-ups and make sure that I'm extended far enough out. So I'm not just focusing on shoulders, but I'm trying to focus a lot on the chest. So do as many reps literally as I possibly can of that. Drop down, do as many reps on the regular push-ups, and then knee push-ups. I'll drop down and do as many as that, and then that's one set. And then so that's one set, and then I go and do the 2-minute rest and bring in that awareness to the body, and just letting go of anything that's coming up, like anything like, I'm strong, and like, or like thinking of like something else, like leaving the present moment. I'll just bring myself back into the body and just and just really feeling the stillness, because I think that a lot of people get stressed out during the day, and you can bring that stillness within your workout. It might be challenging at first, but once you get used to it, it becomes this flow that you can then bring out to everywhere your life. And so yeah, that'd be an example of like for push. And then if it was push day still, I just did the chest, and then I'd do 3 sets, by the way, of that, what I just said. And then I would do for shoulders, I would do get on the wall, put my legs up on the wall, and do the shoulder push-ups, as many as I can as those. And once I do the shoulder push-ups, I get down and do incline pike push-up, and then do regular pike push-up, and then that's one set. And then I go through there and I do 3 of those, and that would be like a push day, right? And then it goes on for the legs, or pull and legs. So I think you get the idea for drop sets. So I do that for like a week, but to make sure my body's not getting used to things, because you don't want your muscles to get used to what you're doing, so that you can find progress. If you're doing the same thing over and over, you're never going to progress unless, it depends on your goal, right? If your goal is just to increase reps or stay and maintain, it's a whole different thing. But if you're looking to gain strength, it's going to be like useful. Maybe 1 week you can do some weighted stuff. I haven't done any weighted calisthenics for a while. So what I would do, maybe if I weren't going to do weighted stuff, I would just do like more like plyometric stuff, so more like explosive stuff. So explosive push-ups, and then doing like the incline explosive push-ups and on. You just want to always mix it up, never stay like in the habit of doing the same things over and over. But yeah.
It sounds really good, like those drop sets. Like I've never done that personally myself, but I might try doing that actually. It sounds really good. So you just do like 3, is it 3 workouts you do? Like 1 push, pull, legs a week?
Yeah, so like I'm always trying to mix things up, right? But someday I'll do full body. Like some days I'll do full body. Like that's part of mixing it up, you know. So on the full body, I probably won't do drop sets because that'd be a lot. But unless, you know, if I really wanted to, but I'm probably so tired and have to take longer to rest. But um, yeah,
That's cool. I really also like how you were talking about like you're meditating between sets. I think that's a really good way to work out. Like that's something that I've been sort of getting into lately myself, is just like being mindful between sets and releasing the tension, because you know, like for me personally, like being really into fitness and exercise for like a really long time and working especially in a gym environment, like I used to be like it's easy to get sucked into that, and there's a lot of ego in the gym, which is partly why I quit my job um, working in the gym, um, because of that, which you know is something that I want to see change. um, because like you said, like you store emotions in the body, and I feel like a lot of people work out to release stress and release tension, which is like a good reason to work out, whatever. But um, when you're just tensing the muscles but you're not releasing it, you're not doing like anything else. Like yoga is really good for that. If you do like yoga as part of your practice, if you're not doing that, then you're going to actually literally store the emotions in your body, and that's going to lead to anger and just like tension and not feeling good and blocking your heart. Because I know that like uh if you do like chest press like a lot, you can actually you're actually blocking off your heart chakra. So like I find that it's really good to be intuitive on how you work out as well, and like really listening to your body, like what does my body actually need, rather than just following a program. Like I think a program's great. I follow a program for myself, and I do that with my clients, but not following it in a strict way where you have to do that. Like going through your workout and feeling, what do I really need? What do I feel like? While still looking at a structure is, I find the most beneficial way to work out in terms of like the mind body. Because like for me, like another reason I left working at the gym was because I felt like that mind body aspect I wasn't integrating that within my training. I was just focusing on the body because that's what I'd been taught, and that's also like because I was working for somebody else as well, what I had to do. But yeah, I think I got off a little bit off topic there. But yeah, I just think that's really cool that you do that, and that's something that I want to do more in my workouts. Um, yeah.
yeah,
More questions. I
yeah.
forgot.
Oh, it's okay. No, for sure. Yeah, mind body. Yeah, it's really important to realize that. And you know, it's like there's times where maybe in your life, like maybe there's a stretch where you're focusing a lot on just the body, and that's okay. Just realize that yeah, it's gonna have to come back into harmony, um, because you know things will go crazy, and it'll things will manifest in your life. Um, if it's not in harmony, like you know challenges, like interesting things, like yeah, like you're saying, like anger or yeah, you're right, finding the harmony between yeah the mind and and it's okay that we have that part of ourselves. um it's just about really just saying no, just say no to the mind. Really, and then yeah, like just getting into the body, and like yeah, we have a physical body where yeah, a lot of people you see going to the gym, they're like overworking it, and yeah, it's okay though to yeah be really passionate about working out, but at the same time take a break and feel into your emotions, you know. And especially as guys, I think a lot of guys are afraid to feel into their emotions for different reasons, you know, and it might be society, but I think really it stems from a lot of times their father doesn't know as well how to feel into their emotions, and they learn it, well they don't learn, that's the thing, they don't learn to accept them. Instead, they're said to just, you know, just do, who cares, just go do it, do this, do that, do that. Where, yeah, of course, obviously we live in a world where if we want to partake, we got to do we got to do work. But it's really about feeling into the heart first and then proceeding, right? So
Yeah, sure. um yeah, and I was gonna ask you about like with the raw food and stuff, and like how you lost weight and you gained muscle back. Was that just on raw food? Like when you gained?
yeah, well, yeah, it's just, yeah, eating enough, working out. And I, like I said, I think it was because, you know, I was already used to, or my muscles, I don't know, I've never really researched it, but I'm pretty sure like you have a muscle memory. But some people say you don't, some people say you do. But you know, that might be the case, and genetics playing a role too, and your age. It's not always like a straightforward thing for everybody. So and like, yeah, male, female, also race, I know that plays a role too, because um if you're aware, but like African American people, they are way better athletes, like physically. They just are. And it's proven. They have I forgot, but it has to do with their genes. They have an extra, like, something stronger. I can't remember. But yeah, there's all these different factors, right? um and like, who knows, like somebody may not have that absorption yet in their intestinal tract, because, you know, if you're all gunked up. And I know, like, that might be like that's a very it's a topic where people may not agree. But I think, you know, from my experience, I've learned that if you're able to absorb nutrients enough, you're going to naturally gain the muscle back. And you're going to, yeah, and of course it's training. If you're not doing the right training, you're never going to gain muscle. uh, but yeah, it was mostly just raw foods. And yeah, raw food, yeah, raw foods, fruit, mostly fruit. That's what I eat mostly. I mean, I think everybody on Raw anyways eats mostly fruit, except some people I know. There's like Marcus Rothkranz, who he eats like a ton of fat. And it's like, well, not a lot of people can do that, because he says stay away like completely. Like, he says, yeah, eat your fruit. He doesn't say stay away completely. He just says eat less fruit and eat more greens. And then, like, I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff he says, but yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, everyone's got their own opinion, and that's okay. I feel better with just fruit for sure,
Yeah,
and less fat. But if
right.
it works for other people, then sure. But I I was gonna say something.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I agree, and I kind of understand where you're coming from with. I understand where you're coming from with the, like, if your body isn't absorbing the nutrients, then it's harder to gain muscle and gain weight. Because I went through the same thing when I first went raw. I lost more weight, and I was already really skinny. Like I said, like I had an eating disorder, but at the same time, I wasn't worried about the weight loss too much because I was more in tune with my intuition and I trusted the process. Even though everybody around me was a bit worried, um, I knew I was going to get better, because what I realized was that because my digestion was really bad, um, which is one of the reasons why I went raw. But once I cleared up my digestion, and like even now I start eating cooked food, but I'm able to digest food more easily than I was before, which has made it so much easier to gain muscle and just feel stronger. It's just funny because like before I was probably eating the same amount, even more, because I didn't used to do intermittent fasting, and now I do. And I wasn't able to gain weight. So it's just there are so many factors and things. So I find that really interesting that you like said that.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and I was gonna say something else, but I've forgotten. So
It's
um,
okay. Maybe it'll come back.
it'll come back.
Cool. Yeah. yeah, really, yeah, I guess it depends on, yeah, really, the training, how long you've been raw. Because, you know, somebody who's already raw and into the lifestyle, that's wanting to now get into working out and maybe gaining some weight back, it'll probably be easier for them rather than a person who took a year to transition from like standard American diet to cooked plant-based to now they're raw. Maybe it'll take a little longer because their body is probably still healing stuff. um, yeah, it could take longer, shorter time, but yeah, really it's the training. I really think that's like a big part of it, and then of course there's other factors.
Yeah, training definitely. Like I think that makes all the difference. Like if you don't do the exercise, uh, then you're not going to get the results. Um, but at the same time, you have to fuel your
Yeah,
training because otherwise you don't get the results.
yeah,
It's definitely been my experience because
for
I
sure.
train a lot, and back before I was raw and I was just vegan, I was training a lot. When I was working at the gym, like 6 days a week, and like just running around all the time, but not eating enough, then obviously I wasn't going to get the results. Um, but then after when I went raw, straight away I stopped doing exercise. Like I just was doing walking and stuff and yoga. So it was a lot harder to gain muscle, obviously, too, because I wasn't doing the training. So, but at the same time, like that was more of an intuitive thing that I felt like I needed a break. Like, do you find now that you're more intuitive with how you train and how you eat?
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Especially, yeah, for training, I feel like, yeah, I listen to my body, and it's interesting on more like raw. It seems like I don't have to, like, to maintain what I've gained, like the strength I've gained. I don't think I need to work out as much, um, as like people do think they need to. Like, I know like people go to the gym, they'll go like 7 days a week and every day, but like you don't have to do that. You can still maintain your strength on just, yeah, just like 3 or 4 days, 4 days, at least 4 days of working out, you know, like you can still maintain like strength and um yeah, maintain strength, and yeah, if you get enough sleep. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, I see. Yeah, and like in if I need rest, I rest. Like I'll rest. Really feeling into that because you know, obviously your body needs rest if you feel like you need it. So rest and sleep and do if you want, like you can do like self massage to relax the muscles. And then for like intuitive eating, yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know because like I hear people say intuitive eating, and I feel like some people might be thinking of it differently than others. But I think intuitive eating to me would be like, okay, like what is my body craving? Like obviously, if it wants junk food, maybe not. But I never crave junk food, so um, I don't know because I always think like, what if somebody is intuitively eating, but then they eat junk food? I don't know. But like huh. But yeah, I think though I'm always like I always figure though like when I eat too much fat I'll know because like I feel the difference. I feel like my body isn't it just doesn't feel right, just kind of like clogged up, you know. And the more fruit I eat, like the more juicy fruit, especially like melons, oh my gosh, melon season was awesome and it still is like pretty much at the end of melon season. But oh my gosh, just eating those melons like wow. Yeah,
Mm.
fruit up, fruit up. I noticed that, yeah, it's the fruit, the less fruit, it's just finding that middle path. I noticed that like when I first started going raw, and then like maybe a half a year later, that was probably when I had the best thing going for me. Um, but in terms of like muscle, I think I did have less muscle. So it's kind of honestly, I do think you have to give up some things depending on your goals. But that's why I stick to the middle path. Like I don't care about being like super big and ripped and like all like rah. Yeah, of course, like you're gonna get muscle as long as you're working out, you have the proper nutrition. Um, you're gonna gain muscle no matter what. But at the same time, why not do some yoga, and why not do some Tai Chi stuff and all that stuff?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like you've got to sometimes you do have to make some sacrifices. You can't have everything. And
Right.
it all comes down to like what are your values? Like look like working out and getting muscle and looking good is fine, but uh is that coming from what your like deepest core values are? Because if it isn't, then like for me, I wouldn't sacrifice that because that's how I make most of my decisions, I guess. Just to give an example, like when I train, I do want to gain muscle more because I want to be stronger rather than just look good. But it's not so much about like being ripped in that, especially like coming from where I've come from. I don't want to have that kind of body image like obsession, and I don't want to be that for other people either. Um, so yeah, that's interesting. I had more things I want to say about what you said. So I've forgotten.
It's
Uh,
all good.
yeah, because every time
Yeah.
you're talking, it's just like all these light bulbs. Oh yeah, we could expand on that. Um, oh yeah, with the fruit, like definitely I agree. Fruit, I feel better eating and less fat. Like whenever if I eat too much fat too, I feel kind of sluggish and just like not
Mhm.
not good. But with the fruit, I always feel energized and hydrated and just like lighter. And I feel like I can do more. And also, my mind is clearer, I find. Um, so that's why I like eating the fruit as well. And just, I love the taste of fruit and I like the feeling and stuff. Um, and doesn't have any like digestion like issues when you eat just fruit. So, yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like I will. There's times when like if I want avocados, I'm gonna eat them. But I do. Yeah, I can tell when I go a little too much of the fat. But I do think that long term, healthy fats, good enough health, like enough amount of healthy fats, is gonna keep you on this lifestyle, like on the raw food lifestyle, just because it keeps you grounded, and it's good to get those fats for, of course, the brain and other things. But yeah, like honestly, I think most people on this lifestyle would think I eat too much fat, but I feel good. Like I feel really good. But really, it's just about figuring out what is the best ratio for you, like how much is good for you.
So what's your ratio? What
I
like
don't know.
in a day? What did you do you eat like throughout the day or do you like
I
uh
usually I usually eat 2 meals per day is usually what I do,
okay.
and then like, yeah, like intermittent fasting before. But yeah, so at nighttime is when I eat my fats, like the last meal. That's the last thing with like if I want to have like a salad or something. But basically I eat like today. I only had one avocado today, and I'm probably not gonna eat anything else today. I had one avocado. That was it, and I'm not gonna eat anymore today. But sometimes my body will want like 3 avocados, or freaking. Sometimes people think this is crazy. 4 avocados, but I feel good on it, and I have no problems with it. Um, Maybe if I go like past that, I'd probably would feel bad, but definitely not together. Like heck no, don't combine your fruit, like your juicy fruit with fat. Don't do that. You're just gonna feel sluggish. But yeah, definitely later in the day is when I think for most people is the best time for their fats. Um, and just having the juicy fruits in the beginning, and having your herbs, your herb, like your herbal powders if you're into that. And yeah,
Okay. So today just one avocado, no fruit.
no, 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 no. That was my fat.
Okay. Right.
That's the fat I ate today. Was an avocado, one avocado. I had fruit today. Like yeah, I had other things today.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had like did you eat like do you do mono meals or do you just eat
Um.
any fruit that you feel like or
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll do mono meals. Like yesterday, Yesterday I pretty much did that. Um. I had a big like watermelon. I was just eating watermelon and as the first thing in the day, and I think yeah, watermelon and grapes. I think that's all I ate yesterday too. Isn't that funny? Wait, watermelon, grapes, and I had like some. I had like cashews. Let's see. Yeah, I had cashews yesterday, and then those are the only three things I ate because that's all I felt like eating. But today I had different variety. I had like more variety. I had plantains. So I had like two plantains today. I had um, dried figs. I know a lot of people don't like dried fruit, but I like it. So yeah, I had some dried figs. I had what else? Can't remember. Oh, grapes. More grapes. Concord grapes that we picked off the bushes, and I put them in a blender, grinded them all up, and then I had them in like a just by themselves, grapes. And then later I had that salad. It was bell peppers, cucumbers, and avocado, and then nutritional yeast, and I think I had a hot sauce. but yeah, but yeah, a lot of times, yeah, I'll eat greens too. But I didn't eat greens yesterday or today. But yeah, I'll have greens in my salads, baby greens, because they're the easiest to like digest and chew, most tender. And I'll like ideally, it's good to get on a an herbal, like wild herbal formula. So like with wild herbs, raw herbs, so that you can get all the extra like micronutrients and all the stuff that you usually wouldn't get. Um, but I haven't had that lately. So really it's just about, yeah, making sure you're not eating the same things all the time, changing it up. Sometimes I get in the habit of on accident, like eating the same thing, but I think long term it's good to, yeah, make sure you're getting your nutrients, all your stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's good to change it up and not eat the same thing all the time. Because I used to get in the habit of like just eating like watermelon or just eating grapes or just eating like peaches or something. So yeah, like
But that's good.
the
If your body wants that, it
yeah,
needs that.
yeah. As long as you're getting everything, and like my experience on a raw food diet, I haven't had any deficiencies apart from I did have some low iron, but and I'm not sure exactly where that came from, but I fixed that now. Um, but yeah, like the thing is like you get everything you need with the food as long as you're eating enough, I find. Um,
Yeah.
and having enough variety. Yeah.
Yeah, variety. And then of course there's different things you can go into, like where was it grown, and like how long was it picked, like how long ago was it picked, all these different things, right? But then like if you go too deep into that, like, well, you can't always focus on all the details. Like you got to live your life. But yeah, really, I think though, going back to what I was talking about earlier, getting a good herbal formula, like with a bunch of like a wide ingredients, like a lot of ingredients, I think it's really important for anybody, even if you're not even like a vegan, raw vegan, like anything, just anybody, because I think no matter who you are, what diet you are, I don't think there's a perfect like 100%, like everybody is getting everything. I mean, yeah, you are, but I think it's why not get extra? Like, why not get extra something that's going to not only be good for nutritional uses, but also for like, making your brain healthier, making your different organs healthier, um, different things like that. Longevity, longevity is another thing. There's longevity herbs that you can get into, and of course that's a whole different world, right? But I do think that that's something a lot of raw foodies don't focus on. Like they focus on the juicing, they focus on, yeah, they get into cleanses and like the parasite stuff, but I think they forget the whole like longevity herbs. Like why not? So
Yeah. That's
yeah,
that's something I want to do more of.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
even going outside, like there's so many wild foods you can pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you know what you're doing, I guess. I'd be a bit scared to like pick something that's like poisonous or something.
Oh, check this out. What I have in my backpack. I picked them a couple days ago. Yeah, I don't know if you can see them, but they're these berries. They're called hawthorn berries. I don't know if you recognize them, but they're red hawthorn berries, and they're really good for the heart, the blood, and like people who have high blood pressure. It normalizes the high blood pressure, but if you have low blood pressure, it also normalizes that. So there's the I forgot what pump in your heart, which one, but it helps that. And then there's this.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
good.
that book is great. It's a really good book. It has so much. It's really thick. It has so much information in there, pictures so you can identify what you're looking at. But yeah.
That's really cool. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add today? You want to talk about?
I can't really think of anything right now. um,
Okay.
I just think, I don't know.
Okay. Because yeah, I think I asked most of the questions that I had. Um, yeah. So what is it that you want to help people with? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what I want to help people with, and what I'm helping people with at the moment is, yeah. So bringing in and going back to what we were talking about before, bringing awareness to our emotions through exercise, of course, and bringing in that flow movement is a thing I like to call it. It's just that conscious flow movement where while you're exercising, you're not just focusing on solely like just the exercise and just the muscles. You're focusing on, your breathing and how you feel and just like any thoughts that are coming up, and being able to bring awareness to them, and being able to shift those with bringing in, the tai chi, bringing in the meditation, and like mixing in yoga literally to all those things, and I mean to the calisthenics exercise. And that combined with, realizing that, everything is a holistic view. So like everything, looking at everything as a holistic viewpoint, not just the food, but the emotions, like we just talked about, and your relationships, your sleep, everything, your purpose in life, like your vision for life. And me specifically, like I'm able to help people at different levels from where they're at. So if you look at, say, if there was like a journey from one point, or like a one point to another point, there's people who are at this point of it, or there could be people that are at this point of it right here. And just through reflecting and just acting as a mirror, I can help them by me, reflecting my story and what I've went through, whether they're at the beginning stage, whether they're just trying to get into raw foods right now, they're just transitioning from maybe plant-based cooked, or maybe even like standard American diet. I can help them, of course, go through that transition. And of course, with that always comes the emotional stuff. And what I explained before and shared with you earlier was, how you bring awareness to the ego, and just melting away, and just breathing into that belly down below, and just really extending it, and allowing yourself to feel, and then feel that lightness that plays into all these people. So no matter where you're at in your journey, that's something that you want to bring awareness to. And there is how I can guide people and really just act as a mirror, and allow themselves to be empowered themselves. So it's not like they need me, it's allowing them to have a tool that they can use the rest of their life to go on and use all the time, whether it be now or, yeah, just when anything comes up. And um yeah, so whether they're at the beginning of transitioning to a raw food lifestyle, there's the whole like, what do I eat, how much do I eat, um all these things, and then working out, like how much do I work out, like how do I work out, all these things. um but it's just people at different stages basically, but it's always based off of a process. There's a process. And but yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. So I guess you just want to focus on mainly like the raw food transition and fitness and
Yeah, so
holistic.
the people that I'm most passionate about working with and I'm able to help with really are people who are, yeah, they are getting into the lifestyle or they're already in the lifestyle, but they are looking to, yeah, either gain muscle from being skinny, because that's another type of person that I enjoy helping is people who are they're maybe lower in weight and they want to maybe gain weight now, like they're coming off that initial detox phase and now they're ready to add on a little bit more weight. This thing fell down. The earbud fell out. But yeah, um so I don't know if that makes sense. So if you can imagine like one big like here's like some people over here who are just getting into it and then people over here like yeah, they've already been in the lifestyle. So for instance, I'm helping somebody right now who they've already been raw for about a year or two and now they are wanting to gain more strength on raw food and they're wanting to gain more strength with pull-ups and increase their reps, but also they recognize that it's so really important for them to feel into their emotions. So that's where that comes into the whole emotional stuff, figuring out, okay, well, I want this goal, but it's not always about striving for this, striving for it and really uh, being hard on yourself if you don't if you don't like achieve that goal. It's about just bringing awareness to how you're feeling and just accepting that hey, it's okay. I don't have to beat up myself. And these people are people who they want to do a lot. Like they want to do a lot, right? They want to meditate. They want to achieve all these things in life. Um, but they don't know how. But in reality, they're after clarity. They're really just when it comes down to underneath, they just want to feel that clarity of mind. So they're not always bombarded with all these things. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think like I'm wanting to help like the same kind of person really, like gain muscle and transition to a vegan or raw vegan diet um, on anywhere in the journey, but more so at the beginning phases. Um, and also just change their mindset and uh, their relationship to themselves, I guess, their relationship to their body and their relationship to life and other people as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, if is there anything else you wanted to add?
Um, yeah, so like if anybody's watching this, like know that where you're at is okay. Like where you're at is where you're supposed to be. Like where you're at is okay and you don't have to force yourself to be somewhere else. Like you don't have to try really hard. Um, just let your heart, feel into that heart's truth and it's like a movement. If you can feel still and feel that stillness in your heart, you can feel a movement within. So you can ask yourself, what you believe is your next step, right? And just ask yourself, ask your heart if that is true, if that's the truth. And like you'll know within you. Um, yeah.
Great. That's a really good tip. Um, to always listen to your heart and listen to your intuition for sure. Uh, yeah. Well, thanks so much for uh, doing this interview with me, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I've learned so much myself, and I'm sure other people are going to learn a lot from watching this. So, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Cool.